Hey guys, so it's me, Nicolette Mashile, and today I want to talk a little bit about something that I have made up in my head. I don't know if it exists, and if it does exist, please let me know. So it's called financial confirmation bias, right? If you understand what confirmation bias is, just add the financial aspect to the front of it, and you'll kind of get an idea of what I'm trying to actually explain. Now remember that none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. So I'm going to read you what confirmation bias as a concept actually means, and then we can discuss what financial confirmation bias is. So confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret in favor, or recall information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs or hypothesis, right? So basically it's when you are in a situation, you interpret that situation or how the situation is going to go based on what you have experienced before. And I think it's a natural thing, right? So I've got this one friend of mine who is so afraid of dating good-looking men. And I think it's because she kind of has a confirmation bias about what she thinks good-looking men are. So we one of these good days a couple of years ago, we signed her up on Tinder. And it was cool. She's beautiful, by the way. I wish I could actually drop a picture of her. Obviously, I'm not allowed to, because then y'all will know that I'm talking about who, right? So anyway, who I'm talking about. So anyway, we signed her up. We both actually signed up on Tinder, and we were chatting with different type of people. You know, we're vibing with different men, good looking. This is a couple of years ago, so please forgive me. We're vibing with these beautiful men. Some of them we kind of knew from the streets, and we were like, oh, you on Tinder too? It was quite dope, right? So now she's also not really great at flirting. So I thought, you know what, let me help you flirt. So obviously I was swiping right to the good looking ones, swiping left to the not so great looking ones. And all the ones that I was swiping left to, she kept like, yo, but that one. And I was like, friend, this is not your type. Please, this is certainly not your type. I would swipe left. And then all the ones that I would swipe right to, she would like literally panic every single time I swiped right. And the funny time is every time I swiped right, it would do that it's a match thing, right? Obviously, because these guys think that they are compatible with her, and I think that she's compatible with them. So this one night, while we were sitting doing this, I started having conversations with these guys on her behalf. Obviously, she was there, so she knew everything I was saying. But you know, your girls got flow. So I was there flowing with these guys. And then I left her to her own and went to my house, only to come back a week later and all those conversations had died. That's number one, which is understandable because maybe it's because I had been chatting to them. But she was thriving in the conversations with the ho-ho-looking men. Now, I didn't understand this, right? But I feel like she's got a confirmation bias about what she thinks about good-looking men, right? And a lot of us do that even when it comes to money. We've got these biases about certain things or certain people or certain places or certain things, right? I remember attending, you know, those events where they say, come and learn how to become wealthy or come and learn how to be rich, but really it's an event about another event that's going to happen that's going to cost you like 8,000, but you can get a 2,000 rand discount if you bring a friend. Guys, those are the biggest scams in this country. Those are the biggest legal scams in the country, where you get invited to an event about another event that's going to cost you. Also, the first one is always free. Then they invite you to the next one, but the next one is got a cost to it. But if you bring a friend, there is a whatever. And one of the questions, the one thing that I did take that was valuable out of that session was the one question this guy asked. And he said to the whole group of us, he said, where do you want to travel to? And people were shouting out words. Oh, I want to go to the Maldives. Oh, I want to go to Miami. Oh, I want to go here. Oh, I want to go there. And he pointed to this one girl who wanted to go to Italy. And he said, how much is it to go to Italy? And she literally just stood there staring at him because she didn't know how much it was to go to Italy. And all she said was, it's expensive. And he was like, what do you mean? Have you actually done the costs? And it happened quite recently with us. So one of my good friends wants to go to New York for his birthday. So he drops this bomb while we're standing as a group of friends. And naturally there are friends that are just like, oh guys, I can go anywhere. I can't go to New York. And the first question we ask is why? Why can't you go to New York? Because the only excuse that you have to say I can't go to New York is if you're afraid of flying. Other than that, you can definitely go to New York. And her response was, I can't afford New York. And the first question I then asked her is, how much do you think it is to go to New York? honestly speaking. And she was like, yo, friend, it must be expensive. And I was like, no, it's not though. If you book in advance, you can get a return flight to New York at like 14,000 rand. Now I know that there are people that can't afford that money who think it is expensive. It's the same thing that we talk about. How much is it, do you think, to fly using a private jet from here to Durban? And people are just like, ooh, ah, hey, yee, oh, ooh, because they think it's so expensive to do certain things. So they've got what is called financial confirmation bias about certain situations. Now this is also the one thing that then blocks us from thinking that we deserve certain things, right? That is why it's so difficult for a person to save for a destination holiday like New York, go to New York and be able to do those things, but they can spend every single weekend drinking at the local bar, spending the same amount of money that they would have spent if they just took a trip to New York, because they've confirmed in their heads that they cannot go to New York because they cannot afford to go to New York. Do you understand, guys? So I want us today to start thinking about the confirmation or the financial confirmation biases that we have about certain things and start getting rid of those things, because the first step to wealth and prosperity is to think like the wealthy. You gotta think like you deserve certain things. You can't be sitting there thinking, ooh, there are only certain people that can fly on a private jet. Ooh, there are only certain type of people that can do 1, 2, 3, 4. No. Get rid of that kind of thinking. You too deserve to fly on a private jet. You too deserve to go to the likes of the Maldives, to the Maltas, to the Mauritiuses of this world, to the New York, to the Paris, to the Hong Kong. Come on, man. Don't think yourself poor. In as much as there are books that say stop acting rich, you gotta start thinking rich. You gotta start thinking like the wealthy and stop thinking yourself poor or stop thinking yourself to a ceiling. It breaks my heart every single time I see a couple of people that I know very well who seem like they're content. They're content with their lives. But I know for a fact that if I had to go through their bank account, they are messing up their money on certain things that maybe they enjoy. Fine, granted, maybe they enjoy those kind of things. But I know for a fact that they're stopping themselves from doing those kind of things because they don't think they deserve it, because they don't think they can afford it. But they've actually never sat down to figure out how much it is for me to be able to do things. So are you allowing your financial confirmation biases to pass you up on certain things? That's a question that I'd like to ask, because that is the first step to becoming wealthy and prosperous, is by starting to think yourself as a wealthy person, starting to think in a wealthy approach, and stop this thing of disliking rich people too, because that also is a financial confirmation bias. You have confirmed in your head that people that are rich are rude, people that have money are a certain way, women that are independent are rude and they're disrespectful in relationships. Stop that. That's weak thinking. That is weak thinking. A man who is intimidated by a woman who is independent and has got their own money shouldn't even be talking to that kind of a woman, because what you've actually done is you're actually going to just interfere with her life and disturb her life. A woman that is confirmed that a man that has got money is going to control and beat her up, then you shouldn't even be with that type of a man, because you've actually confirmed that you are going to be weaker than him because you've got less money.